Thank you, and welcome to the Bravehearted Summit. I'm your host, Paola, and today I have the privilege to introduce to you Ayanna Mojica. Ayanna Mojica helps women master wealth and feminine power. A rising new thought leader and premier wealth mentor, she boldly proclaims women's divine birthright to wealth. A priestess of Mary Magdalene, Ayanna's unique coaching formula includes money mastery, energy and spiritual work, sacred sexual practices, and the release of trauma and shame that keeps women from their money and full power. Ayanna is inspired to create a conscious trust and bank to support women entrepreneurs. Welcome, Ayanna.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
I'm so excited that you're here today. I know that everyone watching is going to learn so much from what you're going to be sharing because it's going to be rich. So the first question that I love to lead with is, what does leading with your vulnerability in your life, specifically your love life, mean to you, and how has that influenced the way you coach and teach your own clients?
Okay, well, thank you, Paola. First, I want to say thank you for the honor of being on your Braveheart Summit. And I just love what you've been doing so far, and I'm just very impressed. And it's a thrill to be here, and I'm going to be really making sure that my people know all about this because it's so well done. So vulnerability, leading with your vulnerability. I have found in my experience and my life and the women that I mentor and coach is that when I'm able to really open my heart, especially in my love relationships, that the deeper and the greater I open my heart, actually, the more love comes through. And the more of the divine comes through. And at the same time, I want to say that I don't do that with everyone because I want to make sure that I trust the person. So there's that factor of trust as well. So if I'm in a partnership, which I have been, a beautiful partnership, trusting that area of trust and trusting that person and trusting myself with that person allowed me to be more open and vulnerable. And when I'm mentoring and coaching women, this is the area where I find that women have closed off, because when we're dealing with trust, they may not even trust themselves. They may have had experiences that broke trust. And so clearing and gently helping women to see what that is that may have shut them down or may have hurt them or bruised them or cause shame, when we explore that and then clear it, then they are more able to, first of all, trust themselves. And then from trusting themselves, they can open more like a flower and become more vulnerable with their partner. The other part about this, the other side of this is sometimes women are too trusting and giving too much and being too vulnerable. And usually it's because, again, childhood experiences that a lot of mixed messages about who to trust, when to trust, how to trust, boundaries that have not been strong or healthy. And so there's those two aspects of it. So for me, because of my healing journey, I know I trust myself, I know who to trust, and when I'm able to trust, then my heart opens, I'm much more vulnerable.
I love that you said the more that you open your heart, the more the divine comes through. And I feel, especially from my own experience, that when I've experienced heartbreak, the first thing I want to do is close my heart. And I'm realizing, as you're saying this, that that's the last thing you want to do, but it's understandable why you want to do it. But when you close your heart, you really close your heart to the abundance that life wants to give you.
Yes.
What do you say to women who have issues of trusting and who probably trust too much? Both those women.
Wow. Well, that's, again, it's, why, the question, why do you have that? Let's explore why you don't trust, or let's explore why you're trusting too much or inappropriate people to trust. And again, it usually, from my experience, it usually comes from early childhood, some type of a boundary violation or some kind of chaotic situation in the world, in their lives. And so I invite them to gently, let's look at that. That is probably why these relationships aren't working, or your money's not working, or there's some current chaos in your life. And so that's what I always like, okay, let's gently look at that. Let's look at what happened back there.
Yeah, and it's important that I want to repeat what you said. Let's gently look at that and let's go there together, because we don't have to go there alone.
No.
We don't have to be. And I think that's what most people are afraid of, is that they don't want to go back there. It's done, it's over, it's put on the shelf, but for some reason it's still lurking in the background and it's still hanging around, and they just don't know how to transcend that, how to push through that.
Yep, that's what happens. And we're flowers. Women are flowers, and a flower cannot be like forced open. The petals can't be forced open. We could use that metaphor in many different ways. But it can't be forced open. If you try to force open the petals of a flower, you're going to damage the flower. So it's a gentle invitation. And if there's a trust between that woman and myself, or another trusted mentor or coach, then they can open. They open and they say, okay, let's go there. Let's go there a little bit. We could trust a little bit, and then they go. Begin to open.
Beautiful. Now, I know that you primarily focus on women and their connection to their own wealth. Explain that to the viewers, how you help them create a relationship between money and love in their lives, and how that transforms in the clients' lives that you help.
Yes, thank you, Paola. This is my current passion right now and calling, and I have found that, going back to the trauma, I have found that many women, including myself, that if there's any early childhood trauma, whether they saw it or experienced it, then the energy of that is causing a shame, and that shame is holding them back. So that shame is causing them to hide. That shame is causing them to play smaller than themselves. That shame is causing them to underperform. That shame has given them a lot of messages. So the messages from childhood that are saying you're not good enough, you're not enough, who do you think you are? Anything back there that was a little bit distorted, that has to do with their own personal boundaries, has to do with giving and receiving love, or even having to do with money, will actually, as they're older, more mature, actually begin to have chaos in the relationships or in the money, and even feeling as though they're not worthy of the money. And I'm not talking about just women who make, quote unquote, just a little bit. I'm talking about women who actually, some of my clients are pretty wealthy and still have these money challenges or love challenges. So that I have found through my own personal experience and then working with hundreds of women, that if things aren't working out and there's all this chaos and all this pattern going on, well, let's look at that. Let's look at what happened when you were a little girl, so that we could clear it, get your power back, and then powerfully step into your love, your divine birthright to love, and powerfully step into your divine birthright of wealth.
I've never thought of it that way. And I think that's interesting that you take a look at their childhood, because most people just want to close the chapter on the childhood and never look back.
Oh, I know.
What's the problem with closing that book, closing yourself to the past and never looking back?
Wow, well, you know, I'm kind of seeing where we're going to go here. I'm not saying, okay, everybody just got to look in the back and look at your childhood and let's stir up all this stuff and, you know, let's look at the pain, because that's, you know, who wants to do that? I mean, really, who wants to do it? However, if someone is stuck, if someone is having some serious chaos, drama and trauma in their life, and something's not working, and you've tried therapy like I have, hundreds and thousands of dollars in therapy, you've done all these workshops, you've done all these seminars, you've been in all these, you know, counseling groups and everything else, and something's still not working, well, then let's look. It's just an invitation. Let's gently look and see, because it's usually like one little thing. I shouldn't say little. It's one piece of information. There's so much energy around a certain part of your history, a certain something that happened. It could be that you just saw something that closed you down in your area of power. And when we look at it, it's not just looking at it. One of the things I do is I actually clear the energy of it. And it's very powerful. And then the energy of shame, the power that memory has to keep us playing lower or not fully stepping into our power or fully into our love or trust, then that energy is now dissolved. The don't tell rule is flipped, because you told me, you know, and it gets easier and easier in the telling. But now there's this freedom. Now there's more energy to create, you know, for joy, for creativity, for love. If you choose to step into greater money and if you choose to step into greater wealth. So I have found that many of our sisters have dimmed down their most amazing, magnificent selves, you know, because of programming or something that happened that shut them down. And when that's cleared up, oh my gosh, it's so amazing. And I'm testifying for me, and that's why I share what I share.
Yeah, totally. I can imagine what you see when someone turns back on their light and reclaims their glory.
Yeah, because the little girl before something happened is powerful. She's magical. She's a leader. She's creative. She's a visionary. She's connected to the divine. She's all of that. She's all of that. And then something happened and shut her down.
Wow. Why is it important for women to be sure they have their money together before they dive deep into love?
Because when we have our money together, and we have our money together, our credit together, financial literacy together, and positioning ourselves to create greater wealth, then we're not at the whim of others, and especially in a love relationship. If the man has more than money and you don't have your thing together, then there's the possibility, and I'm not saying this happens to everyone, there's the possibility that now he has all the power, that now you have to do it his way, or you have to accommodate, feel less than. But when you have your own money, and you're empowered, and then you come as equals. You're equal. It's so important these days, and I'm going to tell you why. My amazing beloved that I had the privilege of being in a relationship with for 26 months. It was a very highly evolved relationship. It was a dharmic relationship. We were rocking and rolling on every area, financially, emotionally, sexually, and I mean, every area, intellectually, fun, juicy, amazing relationship. And when I entered into that relationship, I was doing my thing with, the work that I do and beginning to build my money power structure. And he got ill the 3 months before he passed. It was 3 months. I did not have my money together. And what we were about to do financially and with how the house and strategizing, it all collapsed. So not only did I not have my man, but I'm in an amazing relationship, not only did I not have him, our house was gone. My house was gone. Because I couldn't focus on work, my business tanked, my bank account was dangerously low, and I was devastated. I was devastated on all ends. Every area of your life you could think of being devastated. And I said to myself, this will never happen to me again, ever. And I'm not talking about the love part, because the love, I'll take that anytime. I know how to do relationships. I'm talking about the money piece. And being powerful, that no matter what, whether you have a partner, whether you have a husband, whether they leave, whether they die, whatever, you can still take care of yourself. You can continue on and create an incredible life that you've been called to create, to fund the things that you're called to fund. And having that money together gives you the luxury to grieve. Because when you're in grief, like I was, there's no way I could pay attention to the bills, the bank, the car, making money, the business. When you have your money together and all aspects of it, if you do have a tragedy, if you do have a crisis, if your partner leaves or dies, you have the luxury to heal because you have money. I am so passionate about this. I want my sisters to be so empowered. You can take care of your kids. The kids have a chance to grieve. There's so much. There's so much. And when women are not empowered with their money and don't have that part together, we are very vulnerable. And then we can't do the greater gift that we're called to do here on planet Earth. We don't have the freedom to do it.
I will share a little bit to what you're saying and I'll be vulnerable for just like a moment.
Please do.
I used to work at a financial institution, and when you work at an institution like that, you see people and their relationship with money.
Yeah.
And you see all kinds of relationships with money. Some people have all their ducks in a row, so to speak, very well organized. They know what's in their bank account, and some people don't. And I learned a lot from, interacting with these people because I provided a service. But what I learned the most is you definitely need to manage your money. And I was younger, I started at 18 years old, but when I hear you talk about everything that you're saying about getting your money right and your credit right, and not doing it because you're in fear if he'll have more power than you if it's a man that you're in a relationship with, but really just for your own empowerment and for your own foundation as a woman, to have that kind of financial stability and power as a woman, like you said, to even have the luxury to lose someone and have your finances all in a row to be able to grieve is a huge, huge support system when you're actually grieving someone who passed away.
Yep. I agree.
Your beloved, he passed away. My condolences. He was your twin flame.
He was, if I can say
What
that
is,
word, he was.
yeah, what is a twin flame for viewers that are watching that don't know what a twin flame is?
Oh, from my experience, I'm only speaking from my experience, and because I never used those words. I don't like using terms that everybody uses and like soulmate and twin flame. I'm like, okay, what is that? And however, so I meet him. You know, he walked into one of my events, and I was stunned. We were both stunned and very delighted, and our energies went up. You know, there's huge resonance, uh, just an ascension. And he said to me, you know, I'm kind of fast forwarding the story, but he said to me 2 days later, he said, I've been looking for you all of my life since it sounds like a corny line, but it's not. I've been looking for you since he said, been looking for you since I was a little boy. I was looking for this short brown Latina dancer. He's blonde. He was white with blue eyes, and so he was looking for this short, you know, brown skinned Latina dancer all his life. And he married the wrong one because he ended up in a marriage, and it was a dead marriage. And then Spirit said to him, you need to come out of the marriage and get on with your life with Spirit and go look for her, go look for me. That's his side of the story. So we connected, and it was such a profoundly evolved relationship, what I call dharmic relationship, that I was curious as to what this was and had we ever lived lifetimes before. And so we did this past life regression together. And I saw us coming out of a luminous ball of light. I saw us coming out, which is the divine. I just saw us coming out like a piercing, fiery ball of light, one that split into two, feminine, masculine, male and female. And in that moment, and then I saw us crisscrossing across time to meet again during times on planet Earth to do this higher level work. And that's when I knew that we were twin flames. So we were flames shooting out of this luminous ball of light, crisscrossing across time to meet for a specific purpose in time. So that's my understanding of twin flame. So it is a dharmic relationship, which is a relationship that comes together for a higher purpose. Not a karmic not a karmic relationship, which has a lot of drama and trauma.
Oh yeah, I know
we
that
know
well
what that's
too.
like, right? So that's my short version of, you know, twin flame.
Yeah, I like the way that you explained that, to do a higher levels work. Did I say that right?
In our lives, everything we did, every aspect.
You know, I've heard somebody say twin flame before to me, and they said, you know, you met your twin flame with the man that I have now. And I'm like, twin flame? What does that mean? She's like, you know, you just know that you were meant to be together. And she didn't really explain it in the way that you did, but it still sounded beautiful. And I understand what she means, but it was more visceral of what I understood that she was talking about than I actually could explain to anybody in words. But how do you create a beautiful life like you have now after the loss of your beloved?
Oh gosh. Yeah, how did I did that? I was like, I had to go back in time. Like, how the heck did I come out of that? Because when he transitioned at the end of 2012, everything collapsed, and I went into 2.5 years of suicidal grief. And I'm just stunned how Spirit and the angels carried me through that. It was very, very, very tough. And I'm remembering as I look back how my deeper connection to the divine is really what got me through it, because that deep, 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 deep connection to source, to the divine, to spirit has always been there. And in the hardest places, in the hardest time, when I just wanted to dig a hole and bury myself, I still always connected to the divine. I'm like, you gotta help me through this. And so I began to see my life as a mandala. And when the beautiful Buddhist monks are creating these mandalas, is a very worshipful, very intricate, very beautiful journey for about 7 days. And they create this mandala. It's just, oh my gosh, it's just beautiful and meditative. And then on the 7th day, what do? They just release it. This beauty created from sand, colorful sand, fine sand, that was created through this meditation, this worship. And then on the 7th day, it's like, phew, they either send it into the desert or into the ocean or blow it away. And I realized that that was my life. That my life, the tears want to come. My life, and especially the one with him, was this beautiful mandala. And it was complete. And the space between the releasing of that beauty and the creating of a new mandala, that's what I realized was happening. I said, oh, I get to create something new. But the space in between was just as beautiful. The space in between, the grief, the sadness, the feelings of suicide and despair, where I was still running my business and still coaching people and still encouraging people, was just as beautiful and holy. They say that the doorway to God is a broken heart. So that broken heart, that broken place, that in-between stage, when I realized that it was still beautiful, that even that place, that's when I was able to come out of that grief and say, okay, now what are we going to create? Because now it's time to create a new mandala. And I get to co-create it. I'm wise, I've had experience, I have a little maturity on my side, I've experienced this beautiful love. What are we going to create? Well, first of all, we're going to make sure this money thing, we got it down. and let's do it beautifully. Let's do it marvelously. Let's, what brings me joy? What brings me pleasure? What brings others joy and pleasure? How can I help? How can I serve? Let's create something new. And that's how I got through that. The loss of a twin flame, the loss of this highly evolved relationship, the loss of a love, whether it's breakup or they die, it's intense, as we know.
Sounds like
a
spiritual awakening.
Well, I've had many spiritual awakenings, so that was another one. And it's 3:33 as we say it, as I say this.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was my deep, deep connection to God. Reading Rumi, who is a mystic. And I did a lot of deep grief work on my own, many, many, many hours and days under the covers, and doing processes to just clear the depth of what was going on and to clear up what it was that would have me in a situation where I was broken. The broken part because you lost a loved one is one thing. To be broke on top of it, I'm like, no. So let's go. So I went deep. I went into about 21 days of pure in the bed, maybe getting up, just go to the bathroom, drink a little something, pure grief work, deep inside processes. And after the 21 days I came out, I'm like, ugh, now what? Oh, your account still says $100. What are we going to do with this? So, anyway.
Could you speak a little bit to maybe the process to someone who's experiencing it right now, who's got maybe $10 in their bank account, and they're like, okay, this sounds great, but what could you give them if they're listening right now and they're just kind of like checking things out, that you can give them maybe some tips or ways that they can kind of start that process of unraveling their money story, their relationship with love and money?
Yeah, that's the, whew, I just wrote on this. I just have an ebook coming out and I just wrote on this. So the 5 unexpected steps to feminine wealth. So I have found for me that when I came out of this cycle, and I'm like, oh man, I have actually had $125 in my account. I was sleeping on the floor under the blankets in my apartment that I'm not even sure how I got, because I was in a daze. And I wake up from this and I'm like, there's no food in the refrigerator, there's nothing in the cabinets, there's no furniture here. What are we going to do? There's $125 in my account. And I said, well, okay. And the rent was due. Let's take this $25 and buy some food. And let's take this $100 and what can we do with this? Because otherwise you're going to be out in the street. So what I did, I call it bouncing the ball hard against the wall. I'm like, I just got fired up. First of all, I was angry. Second of all, I'm like, you know, this has got to shift. I'm not going to be out on the street after what I just been through. What can you do? So what you do is you assess where you're at. If you have a network or family or friends who can help you, reach out and get that support, especially if you need extra cash coming in. I didn't not have that, but what you can do with that $10 or that $100 is assess your resources. What are you good at? You know, what are your gifts? What are your talents? You know, what I did was, you know, I had my laptop, I had my cell phone, I had my car that was about to be repossessed. I had a strong following. I had a strong email list, and I'm really good at putting on events and doing seminars and workshops and doing privates. And so even though I wasn't in the mood for it, I'm like, you know, Ayanna, you got to create your best product, your best service, and let people know about it like immediately. But what I also did was I got a coach. With that $100, I invested in the best coach I could get for $100. and immediately with that coach, I put these things into place, and that $100 turned into $5,000 in 2 weeks. So what you do is you look at what you have. I don't care if you just have 2 twigs and a piece of chocolate. You could do something with that. Women are very creative. We create worlds. And when we say, this has got to happen, this has got to change, this is the way it's going to go, I'm going to take this $10 and create something with that, then you do it. And especially if you have children, you do it. You just do it. And, you know, I mean, exclamation point, do it. You know, because you can still grieve, but you got to be able to live. So you could sandwich the grief. You know, sandwich the grief, meaning, you know, just put a parentheses around the grief and say, okay, at 5 o'clock tonight, I can grieve and get back under my covers. But right now, it's 1 o'clock and I have to do this. You must do it. Maybe you find out, I was so out of it, I didn't realize that I actually qualified for a business capital loan. I didn't even know that because I wasn't thinking straight. It wasn't until, you know, a year later that I realized, oh, I could have gotten a loan. That would have been easy. It would have been like a minute. I would have had the money. But what I like about what I did was that I dug deep for my own ingenuity, my own creativity. I looked at my resources. I called out to some trusted friends and said, hey, this is where I'm at. Got some suicidal grief. You know, I'm putting this out there. Can you help me get the word out? Here's the services. Here's the packages. Make some phone calls. You can do it. I want to say to my sisters, you can do it. We have been through stuff, most of us. And people who are not in this USA, even a lot of them in this USA, but even people, women in other countries that are severely hindered and oppressed, they get ingenious. They know what to do to make sure their family is taken care of, their kids are taken care of.
It's amazing what we can do when we're pressured like that, especially when it's like for survival.
Yep.
And I would like to repeat one of the things that you said that really stood out to me was, you know, immediately put things in place. You know, you asked for help. You invested in a coach and a mentor, and you were like, look, I need help.
Yep.
And I think that's really important, because a lot of people don't want to ask for help because they got their pride that they're holding on to.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my pride was there because I'm like, oh man, I didn't tell the coach. The coach didn't even know my story. I just hired the best coach I could get for $100, who actually ended up being an amazing coach. But they didn't know my story, and I didn't think they needed to know the story, but that was my pride. You know, when you're hurting, you know, but I did reach out. I said, okay, $100, I'm going to get a coach. But I did reach out to my close friend. She's the only one who knew that I was going through that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I honor you for doing that, because if you hadn't gone through what you did, and you wouldn't have learned what you did, and you wouldn't have mastered it in the way you did to teach it in the way you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so speaking of, you know, gifts and everything that you've learned in your own life, we have a very special gift for our viewers for watching till the very end. So please, Ayanna, share with us, what is your gift and how they can, you know, take advantage?
Yes, my gift is a free ebook, and it's called 5 Unexpected Steps to Feminine Wealth. And I am very excited to share actually some of these processes I went through to get to where I'm at now, where I am helping women master wealth and their feminine power. So I'm thrilled about it, and I'm telling you, my sisters, that it actually works. These steps, they're very unexpected. That's where it's very expected, but they work. And the result of what I'm experiencing, of course, the increase in my bank account. I have, actually tomorrow, I'm getting ready to have a conversation with people who want to come together for the Conscious Trust and Bank. There's like these wealth yeses are coming, and opportunities that not only are benefiting me, but benefit the sisters that I am mentoring and, you know, coaching and helping others. So it's the 5 Unexpected Steps to Feminine Wealth ebook.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for your generosity. I know a lot of people are going to learn a lot from the steps, because I know there's hundreds of women that you work with every year that have benefited from the work that you do. So take advantage of this free gift. The link is below the video. All you have to do is click on it, add your information, and you get the book. So do it right now. And thank you so much, Ayanna. I really, really appreciate it, and I'm so grateful that we got to work together and share your message and your mission. So thank you.
You're welcome. It's my honor, my pleasure, and I bless you. You're beautiful, and I love the work you're doing. Brave heart. Yay.
Thank you. Lots of love.
That's what. Bye.